Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sevi Voloudaki of the Hellenic Republic.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and pleasure for me to be here with you today. Migration is one of the most defining and complex phenomena of our time. It is a humanitarian challenge, an economic necessity, and increasingly a matter of geopolitical tension, strategic calculation, and ideological confrontation. In Greece, this reality has been particularly visible over the past year as the country once again found itself on the front line of migration routes through the island of Crete, following the sharp increase in arrivals from Libya. In recent years, we have witnessed a global shift in the way states approach migration. Traditional distinctions between forced and voluntary movement, between refugees and economic migrants, are blurring under the weight of prolonged crisis, climate change, demographic imbalances, and new forms of state behavior. Across the world, countries reassess their policies through the lens of national interest, sovereignty, and security. This trend is evident in the externalization of asylum procedures by European states, in the instrumentalization of flows on the EU's eastern borders. We recognize that migration is deeply intertwined with global power dynamics. Decisions made in one part of the world can trigger movements across entire continents. Migration has become a domain where diplomacy, defense, trade, and humanitarian principles intersect, sometimes in tension, often in competition. We know well the pressures that arise from sudden inflows, from complex asylum procedures, and from the constant need to balance solidarity with responsibility. At the same time, we know that migration will continue. The future brings more mobility, not less. Climate change, with its devastating impact on agriculture, water, and housing, will be a major driver of displacement in the coming decades. Armed conflicts, state instability, and digital interconnectivity will also encourage cross-border movement. The question is no longer whether migration will occur, but how we will manage it ethically, strategically, and effectively. In this evolving global landscape, the Greek government is committed to shaping a strategy that is both realistic and forward-looking, firm yet fair, prioritizing national interests, grounded in European values, and responsive to conditions on the ground. To understand today's policy, we must recall the experience of the 2015 refugee crisis. At that time, Greece stood at the epicenter of an unmatched wave, shouldering a disproportionate burden compared to other European countries. Unlike many countries that served primarily as secondary destinations, Greece was and continued to be on the front line due to its geographical and geopolitical position. That chapter is now closed. Greece in 2025 is no longer the Greece of 2015. The country is shielded. A new reception system has been established with mechanisms for registration, protection, and integration that enhance both effectiveness and credibility. The message is clear. Greece respects human rights and at the same time protects its borders. In response to the new pressures, the government has passed a legislative framework that reflects a firmer and more structured approach. The law strengthens return mechanisms by expanding the definition of countries of return, makes illegal stay a criminal offense, and introduces stricter detention provisions, including the possibility of up to 24 months in closed facilities with electronic monitoring. This legislation combines deterrence against illegal entries with the creation of a predictable and enforceable system of rules. Greece seeks to protect social cohesion and the integrity of its institutions while keeping its policies aligned with the European framework and international obligations. The state retains the sovereign right to decide who enters and who stays, while continuing to protect those who are genuinely in need of international protection. Greece also recognizes legal migration as an opportunity. Legal migration pathways are essential to addressing pressing labor shortages in agriculture, tourism, construction, and green technologies. This is a shared European and global reality. Economic needs require solutions that are safe, regulated, and beneficial for all. Migration, when managed legally and responsibly, strengthens the Greek economy, supports growth, and offers migrants the chance to build dignified lives through lawful employment. No migration policy is complete without acknowledging the human face of migration, namely individuals and families, and above all, children, who arrive seeking protection and a future. One of the most vulnerable groups is unaccompanied minors. These young people are not passing through. They live in our cities, our islands, our neighborhoods. We have a legal and moral duty to protect them from external threats and from the risks of institutional inertia, uncertainty, and social exclusion. Since 2019, significant steps have been taken. Thousands of children have gained access to safe accommodation, legal aid, psychological and health support, and integration into education and vocational training systems. Greece is now seen as a country that invests and innovates in child protection. But it's not just about care. It's also about prevention. When unaccompanied minors are left without stability and opportunities, they become vulnerable to exploitation and to petty criminality. Public safety grows when vulnerable groups are integrated with supervision and support. Integration is a tool for long-term security and economic development. In this sense, the management of unaccompanied minors is both a test of our values and a guarantee of social cohesion. Migration is now a permanent reality. The question is whether we will respond with fear or with foresight, humanity, and policies that benefit society as a whole. The Greek government chooses foresight, building a migration policy that protects the population, fulfills international obligations, and reflects the dignity of a country at the heart of Europe. The recent reforms in response to the flows from Libya show that Greece is prepared to act decisively and responsibly, combining firmness with fairness, deterrence with protection, national interest with European solidarity, and legal migration with labor market needs and economic development. Thank you.